You're shouting no and I'm yawning. What a great way to start the show. It's going to be one of those, guys. It's going to be one of those. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, Monk. He's Jack. Say hi, Jack.
Hi, everybody.
Are you making popcorn over there?
Maybe.
Jack's hungry because it's time to do the show. Guys, hope you're well. Hope everybody's okay. I'm all right. I'm better than yesterday, but not as good as I want to be. But I'll take better than yesterday, Jack. That was like almost 4 days of misery.
Yeah, I imagine. You sounded pretty miserable yesterday, but today you sound a lot better. You don't even have to put your fake voice on.
No. This is my real voice, and I'm happy to report that I'm feeling better. And thank you for all the well wishes. You guys are so kind. Speaking of thank you, Comrade Kitty, at the end of the show yesterday. With all of the technical problems, I totally missed it. I'm so sorry, but thank you for the donation going towards my microphone fund. And Dixie, thank you when we were off screen, a little bit towards a new microphone question mark. Thank you. Very, very kind. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. So, Jack, whatever I want, and he can't say shit.
What?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. I just to be honest with the audience here, we're kind of kicking it old school here. When the show first started, Jack, the very first episode of this, I don't even think it was named yet. It was just I still had stuff to say about one of the stories we covered on the other show. But past that, it was just my need to hear myself think out loud. People don't judge you as harshly if you're talking to yourself if you have a microphone on for some reason.
Then you're a podcaster, not a weirdo. It's when you're on the subway and do it that it's weird.
I learned a long time ago not to be ashamed of talking to myself. It's just something I've always done. And people, are you talking to yourself? Yeah. And they never know how to respond to that.
Well, you see, there's this difference between like talking to yourself because you're trying to process something and then answering yourself because you're insane.
See, everybody says that, but I do answer myself.
Yeah, I do that occasionally too. My grandpa used to do that. When I was a little kid, my grandparents babysat us. And my grandpa would sit there and have actual conversations with people. And he was clearly like reliving a past experience. We thought he could talk to ghosts because we were little kids. He'd sit there and be like, don't you talk to her. Don't you do that. And we're like, oh,
yeah, I'm not like that. I have actual discussions with myself where I like challenge my own thinking.
Oh, I usually do that. Where the hell did I put that?
Okay, I do that occasionally too. But no, I have actual conversations with myself. Yeah. But the point being is that most of the time this show was turned on, there was never a topic. It was just whatever the fuck happened once I turned the mic on. And we're kind of doing that tonight because there's a lot of stuff that's gone on.
Yeah.
But nothing that, we can point to a whole show for.
Yeah.
Or even a major segment of it.
Yeah, we're kind of lazy, so
there is that too. I wasn't going to bring that part up.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Said the quiet part out loud again.
Well, see, that's the great thing with the way the format is that we don't have to be. What's the word I'm looking for here? Not lazy. What's not lazy?
Motivated.
Yeah, I guess
disciplined.
Disciplined is a good one.
Look, man, we have set the bar so low for ourselves. The audience doesn't expect much. That's the great thing about not having standards.
I just thank Comrade Kitty, and now they're blaming me for killing George Wendt.
You weren't asleep for that, I don't think.
I don't think so. I haven't been sleeping much lately. I did see that the actual bar Cheers set up a little corner for him when he died, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, real quick, thank you, Keldrig. The best answer is, are you talking to yourself? Is yes, I need to consult an expert.
I just say yes and see what happened, or just watch their face as you say it. It's amazing when somebody's expecting you to defend yourself and you just say yes. Like, did you do that? Yep.
I like that scene. What is it? Braveheart, where they're talking to the Irish guy who talks to himself, and he says, "Sometimes that's the only way you can get a good conversation," or something like that.
Oh, and yes, Norm died. Norm from Cheers. George Wendt passed away the other day. So R.I.P. Man. I like George Wendt. You know what I like about George Wendt? I never knew his politics.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say that he's dead, and I was like, "That's harsh, dude."
No,
But
no, no.
you threw me a curve.
There's a whole lot of people that I would be happy they're dead long before George Wendt.
Yeah, pretty decent actor.
Yeah.
But like you said, working guy. Just seemed like he just kept his head down and worked and didn't get involved in nonsense.
Yeah, did his job, man. All right, let's start with this because I know people are getting tired of this subject, but thank you, Dangerous, for bringing this one to my attention. I had seen this video going around on Twitter, but it's Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson again. I was like, probably the same old shit.
Yeah, more of the same.
Except it's not.
Oh,
No. And frankly, those two aren't really a part of this conversation. I know that might seem weird, but this is the Atlantic, the journalism publication, allegedly.
oh, I thought you meant the ocean. I was like, that's weird.
They have a show called Washington Week, and they brought these two idiots on, and this takes place.
The interesting subjects here that's come out in the past week, as you guys are talking about the book, is the role of the media. I don't want to do like an extended media criticism here, especially.
Weird that the media doesn't want to do an extended media criticism.
Yeah, it's very odd.
This is Jeffrey Goldberg. Yeah, isn't Jeffrey the one who ended up in that Pete Hegseth text?
Probably.
Yeah. There's also a great one where Jake Tapper went on with Ezra Klein, and I considered covering it, but seriously, we've covered this so much lately. If you're interested in that one, go check out Scribe's stream from earlier today. He went over quite a bit of it before I left. That's what he was doing when I woke up, and he invited me on. I'm like, no, not yet. the pain is way too. Well, I ended up sleeping like directly on my shoulder. I was perfectly on my side, and it's the shoulder that's been so fucked up. I woke up in so much pain from that shoulder that I didn't even feel the pain in my back for half an hour.
Wow, you're a mess, dude.
I am a mess. I am, but I'm a happy mess. So let's not dwell on that.
That's fair, as long as you're happy.
But if you ask me to do something when I first wake up, there's a good chance I'm not gonna. No, I need like 2 hours to unkink, and not the kink like the OnlyFans way, because then I'd be making money.
Oh yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, we got some Rikiada kink later.
Oh, that's right.
Hey.
Man, what is with all the fucking degenerates this week?
I don't know.
Between the crazies shooting people, the Antifa clowns getting all fired up for season, and the perverts, man, I just don't know what's going on anymore.
All right.
Especially because I'm not sure it's actually correct. You were doing reporting.
That's true.
In 2023, you were bringing this up.
Okay. I don't want to do the media criticism, partially because I'm not sure it's warranted. You did stories in 2023.
You kind of did your job a while ago.
4 years after it was readily apparent, you started covering some of it a little bit.
Kind of, maybe.
Can we get this man a fucking cookie? Anyway, we still haven't got. Wait till the end of this, Jack. It is so fucking infuriating.
There's a quote that I want to show you. It's actually, I mean, it's not just you guys. Ezra Klein was asking questions, the New York Times, the Wall Street. I'm going to show you a quote from Mark Levy, Atlantic, in June of 2022. Yeah. I mean, and the article is called "Why Biden Shouldn't Run in 2024." Biden is by no means the more eloquent character.
How long was I gone there?
I didn't even know you were gone.
Oh, well, shit. Okay.
The audio kept playing.
I'm going to back it up just a second. So, because we got to get this whole quote that Jeffrey gives us here.
Give prepared speeches. His tone can be tentative, and certain sentences can become hopscotching journeys. His aides in the room look visibly nervous at times, and so on.
All right.
Probably because he sniffs them randomly.
Well, he says, and so on. I'm going to read the part he didn't read. Biden worked to overcome a stutter during his youth, and in general, it can become more difficult for stutterers to conceal these effects as they age. Jack?
Monkey.
Does this sound like they're questioning his cognitive ability?
Not at all. It sounds like they're questioning his ability to control his stutter.
The stutter that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah.
I don't understand how this narrative has developed that no one in the media, or that the media was covering for Biden.
I have no doubt that this asshole doesn't understand how this narrative happened. You just did it. You just did the thing. You were dumb enough to put that whole quote up there that shows us what he was really talking about, that he wasn't actually asking about Biden's cognitive ability, more, oh my God, he's getting old and he can't control his stutter so much. And now you can be like, I don't understand why they say we cover. You just fucking, you're doing it for yourself right now.
What? Hate fact.
I don't get it, man.
I think what might be going on here is a lack of understanding about how reporting works.
See, we felicitate the Democrats and they give us money. That's how this works. I don't know why you rubes aren't getting this.
Yeah, they weren't covering for Biden. We're just all too stupid to see how well they were covering the story they refused to touch until it became okay for them to do so.
We're just a bunch of ignorant dummy-dums. Our majestic elite class is doing us a favor by talking to us.
Yes.
And giving us a synopsis of what's going on in our mysterious world around us, full of fascinating things like light bulbs.
These people are so up their own ass. You just don't get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You fools. You fucking rubes. You don't know what peasants you are, you dummies.
He's going to explain, Jack. And if you think his explanation is going to make this any better, you're just wrong. Oh, shit.
What?
I forgot. At the top of the show, before we started, in chat, we were told it was Princess Shadow's birthday.
What?
Yes. So, Princess Shadow, I'm so sorry it took me this long to remember. This one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Princess Shadow. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Hope you had a good one. Really, really do. Or have a good one if it's just starting.
Indeed.
19 today, Jack. 19.
Oh, wow. I remember 19. That was fun.
I don't remember much of 19. Second child was on the way. I was working as much as I could because I was 19 with 2 kids.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of my 20s, man. They're kind of a blur. Anyway.
In order to prove that he's diminished, you have to have people, sources inside telling you this.
Balls deep inside.
Okay. Jack.
Monkey.
As I recall.
Oh, here we go.
Us and many other people, including Laura Trump going back to 2019, have been pointing out that Joe Biden had cognitive issues, and we didn't need a single person to come along and tell us it was true.
No, we had what we call visual cues.
Audio cues?
Audio cues. And what's that fancy thing the kids got now? Video. It's
the
like
moving pictures.
Yeah.
The fancy talkies.
Yeah, the talkies have revolutionized everything. Although I still say silent movies probably were the best because we're used to them. It's more comfortable now. But I've adapted, and soon they'll even be in color.
Thank you so much, Assassin of the Gray. Very kind. There was never any evidence of child sniffing Joe, trademark, ever having a stutter, just like there was never any evidence of his asthma that got him out of veteran service. Split the two feminist $12 with Galactus Jack. Thank you so very much, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Assassin. Appreciate it.
That is a double feminist $12 with a tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, my friend. And yeah, you're right. Look, again, there is a story from 2008 about Joe Biden's stutter. And if you go back and look, there's a couple of events he did where it's mentioned, but they are so few and far between.
Yeah, with no actual evidence of a stutter. There's
none.
I've never there's no video of him ever stuttering. So it just seems like it may be true, but I think it's overblown if it is.
Well, all of the sources that tell us he had a stutter are like lifelong friends, which is kind of weird to me. As somebody, as a Navy brat who moved around a lot, like Joe did from Scranton and all that, the idea of lifelong friends is just weird to me. But these are supposedly kids who grew up with him. Like, shut up. I don't believe you.
Joe doesn't have friends.
Here's the thing. If he did have a stutter, what we were watching was never a stutter.
No, it was cognitive issues where he's trying to think of words, which is significantly different than a stutter.
It was so much more slurring. Not just more slurring. It was slurring. There was never a stutter. There was never a moment where he pulled a if like Obama when his teleprompter went out.
Yeah.
It was just him slurring his fucking words and like he had a stutter. But do you see what Jeffrey did there? You're like, I don't understand why. We were talking about it in the media, but without somebody going on record, we couldn't tell you that Biden fell up the plane stairs 4 times or 3 times, whatever it was, in one little trip.
See you next fall.
Without somebody telling us that it's unusual for somebody to forget to put their fucking foot down when they stop a bicycle, we just couldn't tell you about it.
No, look, the mystery of what the Easter Bunny was whispering, possibly Israeli state secrets to Biden, which are still safe in that case. Yeah, I mean, you don't have another source other than your lying peepers. Who knows? They did not cover this at all. They're full of shit. A handful of people, we're on the cutting edge of that one. We're talking about him being in cognitive decline. Barely anybody else was. And nobody from legacy mainstream media were doing it. No left-wingers at all were covering his alleged stutter like the rest of us were.
If you go back and look, one of the things that comes up in that Scribe stream that he did today is when Biden came out and had his little temper tantrum about the Her report.
Oh, yeah.
And he says that nonsense about, actually, I was offended that he brought up Bo. I was thinking, what's wrong with this guy? And when the media reported on that, they all went, Biden upset that Her attacked his son or that Her brought up his child. Not one of these dirty little bastards came out and went, yeah, we read the report and Biden is the one who brought it up. It wasn't Her.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, Biden was probably talking about Trump because he couldn't remember that Her interviewed him.
But it's not just that they didn't cover this. It would be one thing if they didn't cover it. Jack, we've had people come in from time to time like, you didn't cover this story. We can't cover everything. And I get that.
Yeah, granted, we're 2 people. They're giant corporations.
I get missing stories. I don't get missing the story of the president being addled when you're the mainstream media. But if they just
unless
didn't
you're trying to miss the story.
If they just didn't cover it, it would be one thing. But it's in 2020 that Mr. Tapper there yells at Laura Trump, you don't have any reason to say that he's got cognitive decline. They weren't just ignoring it. They were actively defending.
Yeah, they were doing it in the same way they do with anybody that they disagree with, because Laura Trump is a somebody, technically. So he did the same shit he would do to any of the independent media, like Andy. No, not only are you not an expert, you have no qualifications to
Yes.
investigate this. So don't look into it. We will disparage you into not looking into it. So
And
it's
it's
actively running defense.
and it is absolutely absurd to me that now, because somebody behind the scenes said he was addled, we can believe all the stuff we saw in front of the camera.
Yep. Yep. You're not allowed to unless you have authorization from an insider.
If one of their sources is one of Biden's doctors, that is a breach of medical confidentiality.
Yeah, it'd be
And
HIPAA violation.
And as far as I know, none of these guys have claimed that. So all of the people that they are quoting in their book, without attribution, are as qualified to talk about it as you and I are, Jack. They were nearer to him. But if you're talking from a medical perspective, Jake, then they're no more qualified than Laura Trump was.
Yeah, if anything, she might be more qualified, because we've seen how some of the people in the Biden's inner circle are very tarded.
Yeah. Remind me of the "it's illegal to read these emails." That was Chris Cuomo, wasn't it? He was the one like the press has advantages you regular peons don't.
Yeah, I think it was Chris Cuomo.
But anyway, I wanted to share that one after I watched it, because good God Almighty, so up their own asses. You just don't understand how you do journalisms.
Well, that's the problem with elitists. They will do anything they can to destroy you, even if you're right. But if later it's convenient for them to say the same thing, then it's some revelation from on high, like they're Moses coming down with the first cloud tablet.
Jacoby, we are live, and we're glad to have you here to catch one of them live. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dangerous. This is why I prompted you to watch this. One, the stutter narrative of the cover-up Jeffrey. Cover-up Jeffrey. Two, the media write stories all the time without a source. Total bullshit. Well, these days, not as much without a source, because they always... Granted, they're not real people. They're the folks that Biden waves to at the end of speeches who aren't there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think it's just a misunderstanding. No, we understand. We get it. And the whole two sources thing, I mean, this is a big part of all the president's men and the whole Watergate nonsense with the Washington Post. You have to have two sources willing to go on record. You don't really. And especially when you're talking about stuff that you can, see.
What? You trust your eyes? How bourgeoisie of you, ableist.
In that Ezra Klein video where he's interviewing Jake Tapper, he says he would call up the White House, or when he saw the people from the White House, he'd go, "How is Biden in private?" And I love how that's the thing. How is he in private? Like the guy we saw on camera, we're not talking about a nervous kid who's afraid of speaking in front of a camera or in front of a crowd. Biden's been doing this longer than he's not been doing it by double. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's not like he was a nervous kid who stuttered, but once you get him, alone, he's perfectly normal. He's just shy. And no, that's not it. And the emphasis on how he was in private, that is so fucking nonsensical to me. Hey, Dixie, thank you again for the donation, sweetie.
Hi, Dixie.
I wasn't sure if you caught it when I mentioned it on the other show or if you caught it at the beginning of this show, but thank you. Now we're going to switch over to Hassan Piker, Jack. I think it's how you say his name.
Oh,
Somebody
has been Piker.
Yeah, what? Yeah. This tard boy here. Because we got to talk about him. I forget who it was, but somebody on Twitter referred to Hamas as homo ass, and I think I'm going to start using that. So homo-ass supporter Hassan Piker here got suspended for a day, Jack, over on Twitch.
Day.
A day. Here's what he did this time. You have the shooter from the Israeli thing the other day. He put out he has a manifesto that somehow ended up in a journalist hand, an alternative journalist hand.
Oh, okay.
And the guy published it. He's been questioned by the FBI about it too. They want to know how he got a hold of it when nobody else had it, including asking if he had it before the shooting.
Oh, yeah, that would be kind of a big one.
And I get the notion of, hey, you can't be going after the press for this kind of stuff, but you should be able to answer whether or not you had it in advance. And this guy's like, I can't believe they would ask me these questions. But he starts out the post that he made, because I think it's over on Substack, where he publishes this with, I think sunlight is the best disinfectant. So I asked him, if that's true, then why aren't you telling people where you got this information from? Because by your own standard, if you think that sunlight is the best disinfectant, what you're telling me by hiding this stuff is it's dirty. I'm not wrong on that, right? That's the logic there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the logical extension of it.
It's his thing, not mine. He's the one that decided to hide behind sunlight is the disinfectant rather than I got this scoop and I'm sharing it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with him sharing it, but don't
Neither do
pretend
I.
like you're 100% clean if you're not telling people where you got it.
I just don't like the high horse bullshit and then hiding your own shit.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because I don't believe stuff should be hidden. I'm not telling you where I got it.
That's a secret.
Like, get fucked. Anyway, so Hassan goes and he reads this on his stream, where he says, this smells like a false flag.
He pulled an Alex Jones.
Yes. And then he goes, I don't think it is a false flag. But you've already thrown out that you think it's a... Fuck off with that. We all know what that means.
He's such a fence-sitting pussy.
It's one thing to say, this has some elements, makes me think it could be a false flag. And to say, this smells like a false flag. And then he reads it out uncritically. And he gets suspended for, I forget the exact terminology, but for not covering terrorism properly.
Yeah, well, he was probably in support of most of what the person said anyway.
Of course he was, this little Jew-hating prick. I guarantee you this dude got an erection and his first orgasm when he found out 2 Jews got killed in New York.
Yeah, he was probably rubbing one out.
Dangerous, thank you. As someone who actually studied journalism at university, you don't understand journalism pissed me off. Actually, I do, and you shit stains aren't fucking doing it. That was the problem. No. You just don't understand, man.
Yeah, see, because you're not a active journalist with accredited corporation behind you, you are just up beneath us.
Thank you, Cynic. Yes, that's what it was. Mishandling of terrorist propaganda. I'm sorry, Jack.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I stepped on you there.
I was just making fun of the press. They're not really worth the time anyway, so.
Yeah, this guy is a fucking piece of shit, and he hides behind everything. It doesn't matter what he actually says, what he's on saying. It's always taken out of context. No, I don't actually hate those fucking inbred Jews. When I say inbred, I'm only talking about Israel. You mean where all the Jews are?
Yeah, the mostly Jewish country.
This motherfucker is a piece of shit, and it's funny to me that it's finally catching up with him. Because, look, Hassan, I know you think that the Democrats are on your side here, but this is going to really upset you. They get a lot of Jewish money, dude.
Yeah. Hassan is not a smart man.
No, he's not.
I think we need to start recognizing that more. Because he is such a dummy. Dumb.
What bothers me about it though is he's gotten away with this shit so long.
That's
People have
because
gotten,
there's a lot of people behind the scenes that believe the same thing he does.
but tons of people have gotten canceled for much less than what he said, even on his own side.
Yeah, but they don't bring in as much
But
money as he does.
somehow this greasy motherfucker, and I say greasy because he looks like he needs to bathe, not because of any ethnic thing, but this greasy motherfucker gets away with everything.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he has. He's a spoiled, petulant child who's used to getting his way, and he doesn't
Yeah.
understand consequences. So he finds it to be like they're targeting me.
I just want to. Razor Fist made a post about the NFA, the National Firearms Act. We've never really covered that on this show. The National Firearms Act is kind of a joke. And by kind of a joke, I mean, of all of the laws that I've read about passed by our federal government, I can't think of one that is so absurdly asinine as that. The National Firearms Act, guys, basically covers what it means to, or the different designations of guns and what is and isn't legal, and how it includes things like the length of guns. And it is a throwback article, or sorry, a throwback bill from when they're fighting mobsters in the 20s.
Yeah.
It goes back to Prohibition, the rise of the mafia in New York and Chicago, New Orleans as well. And it was meant to try to keep people safe because you had murders going on, a lot of bank robberies going on. And the whole idea was that we need to regulate guns because the gangsters are hiding guns. One of the funniest parts of it, I'd heard of it before, Jack, but I really didn't pay attention to it until I watched Wendigo's video on Ruby Ridge.
Yeah.
And he's talking about what got Randy Weaver in trouble with the law. Our government decided that in order to stop criminals from criminaling, we had to make it illegal for shotguns to be a certain shortness.
Yeah, because they were using scatter guns to shoot more people at once.
And as Wendigoon points out in his video, if you're getting ready to go out there and shoot people and you're like, well, I can't own this shotgun that's too short, I'll just wait right until I do the crime to do it. I'll cut it down then. I just love that our government always thinks that, hey, if we just make it illegal, criminals will stop doing it.
It makes perfect sense.
When you're talking about, especially murderers, Jack, people are willing to kill other folks. Like, oh, but hey, government said I couldn't cut this shotgun down at all.
Politicians are some of the most ignorant and arrogant people you'll ever meet. So it really shouldn't surprise us anymore that they are just like, oh yes, once we dictate it, people will fall in line. And they have no idea how anything works, so they make absurd laws that aren't going to stop anything.
Well, then they have laws about like attachments that you can put on your gun, that it's illegal to do it unless you pay a $200 licensing fee.
Well, they do like money too, so.
So is the thing bad, or is it bad if I don't give the government $200 for it?
Oh, no. See, it's bad if you're poor. You dirty poors, you can't have anything. Only rich people can commit crime, hence the government.
It's just so fascinating to me that this is still even on the books because it is so just to give you guys an idea of the contradiction, they made it so that you couldn't have shortened shotgun barrels because you could conceal it easy. That was the whole reasoning behind it. Handguns are fine. Handguns, no big deal. You know, the easiest gun to conceal. What? Please make this make sense to me. This is why when it comes to things like when they want to ban assault rifles, we need to ban assault rifles. The overwhelming majority of shootings that happen in this country happen with handguns. Even
Yeah, but they're cheaper and shotguns are more expensive, so we can get more money out of them.
well, I've been told, oh, they can do so much more damage. Not really. Depends on which kind of. I mean, if you're talking about a 22 versus a 7.62, sure. But if rifles come in 22,
Look, they don't understand anything about guns because they're fucking politicians. Most of them are idiots. Very few of them have served in the military or were policemen or anything like that, or even recreationally shoot. These are people that their entire life revolves around working in politics. So, or lawyering. So they don't know how anything works. They just dictate to the rest of the people how it can work.
Kukistan says they backed off the handguns but kept the other stuff for 70 years. The handgun one, they back off of there, and then we have a resurgence of it in the 90s, which is when we end up with the assault weapons ban. But because of James Brady getting shot, they're like, we need the Brady bill where we ban the handguns. And then they went, too many people own handguns. We can't do that. So like, assault rifles must die.
Right? Well, going after handguns was incredibly unpopular.
Yeah.
So look, a lot of people are willing to give on certain things, and I think that's bullshit. The government should be able to dictate what I can and cannot own on firearms.
Let me explain to you. I don't want to get shot by a Desert Eagle any more than I want to get shot by an AR-15. Neither of those sound fun to me.
Oh, look at Monkey being a bigot. I don't want to get shot.
Wolfgang, thank you. I don't come here for the hate facts, Monkey. I understand that. It's just absurd to me that not only is this law still a thing, I mean, people are still punished under this stupid ass law.
Of course. Well, the ATF has to derive their power from somewhere so that they can recreate new laws. Because what they do is they take an existing law and mutate it beyond recognition. And they're like, we're allowed to do that. It's in our mandate.
Yeah, it's absolutely asinine. One of the great things that one of the great contradictions that Wendigoon brings up is the bracer you can get for a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
They're illegal, which makes it harder to conceal your gun if you put that on it.
Yeah. Well, look, concealability is a big factor in firearms. So it's probably better you just get better with your pistol anyway. But no, we got to make it look like we're doing something. That's a big part of this is we got to look tough on crime.
Yes.
So we'll go after the legal gun owners.
This is why
a lot of them are pro-criminal. Let's face it.
This is why anytime they're like, we need new gun laws, I always ask them, because it's always after some tragedy, right? Like,
of course.
There was a shooting at a school. We need more gun laws. What gun laws are you proposing that would have actually stopped it? And nobody can ever answer that. They always like, oh, well, it can cause more damage. Common sense gun control.
Look, Monkey, I've been reliably told by members of Congress that AR-15 rounds explode inside of people.
That is true. Not that they actually explode, but that was at a congressional hearing.
They can like punch holes in engine blocks, and they have secondary features like dropping grenades. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that, did you?
Yeah, because it's made. I like the chainsaw attachment. It's my favorite.
Oh, I mean, can't go to work without it. Sure, that came from the Mutant Chronicles, but that's neither here nor there. It's a possible real thing.
I don't understand why so many people fall for this shit. I get it. Guns are scary. Especially if you don't grow up around them, Jack.
Yeah.
I'm nervous around guns because I never grew up with them. I don't handle them. I'm not trained with them. So if somebody was like, here, have a gun, I'd be like, no, thanks. I'm good.
Well, you just talk to them nicely, make sure they're oiled and well loved, and that they won't bite you. care and safety of your firearms, especially an emotional support firearm, is very important to me. That's one of my main causes.
I know guns aren't the problem because we have more guns than people and the population's still growing.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of firearms in this country. A lot. And there are a shockingly few number of actual deaths from firearms compared to how many there are.
I live near a shooting range. It's close enough that we can hear it, Jack. Somebody the other day was having a good old time, man. It wasn't fully automatic, but I don't think you can pull a semi-automatic trigger faster than that guy was doing it. Nobody got killed. It's
Did
weird.
He yell yeehaw because that's
Probably
what follows.
Thank you, Dangerous. It makes total sense, though, Monk. People who want around shooting other people wouldn't while doing it. Did I say makes total sense? Meant to say fucking stupid. Yeah, it is. I get the idea behind it. I really do.
Yeah, but it's an emotional response.
Society.
No,
oh, I'm sorry. Did I break up there?
One of us has a lag, I think.
Oh, probably me. I understand the idea behind it, Jack. I understand wanting to keep people safe, and I understand like, oh, people died because of that thing. That thing must be bad. But laws only work as long as people are willing to go along with them. And when you're trying to stop a murderer, they're not going to give a rat's ass about your fucking law. They clearly don't because they're murdering people.
If somebody wants to hurt somebody, they will find a way.
Yeah.
Like that. There's just a knife attack today in Melbourne, Australia, or Melbourne, however the fuck you pronounce that place. Some guy at a mall with a machete. If somebody wants to commit violence, they'll find a way. It's not that difficult. There are lots of instructions on how to make things on the internet. So you're not going to be able to stop evil. And that's part of the problem is nobody wants to recognize there's just bad people out there. Some people aren't wired right. We got rid of the mental institutions and we let in a bunch of violent third worlders that want to hurt others or have no qualms about it. So those are problems that need addressed more than the actual guns. If anything, more people should be trained in firearms just so they know how to safely handle one if it comes up.
On September 11th, 2001, they killed almost 3,000 people with fucking box cutters, Jack. There were no guns that day.
Airplanes.
Yep.
Nope.
No guns. The Boston Marathon bombing. Tim McVeigh. Tim McVeigh didn't shoot anybody.
No, he used fertilizer.
Blew up a whole bunch of kids. Little shitbag. Rotten hell.
Yeah, the Boston Marathon bombers used pressure cookers.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't regulated.
But guns, man, guns are scurry. They're scurry.
Well, every politician worries about the chance that they'll go too far and there'll be a revolution. So they don't like the idea of peasants being armed.
Speaking of revolution, let's get an update on our favorite terrorist organization, Antifa. They've been busy, Jack.
Oh, those
they were out.
Retards, man.
Yeah, they were out in Seattle. I want to go to Frontlines themselves rather than Andy here because they had several videos about this. So there's a right-wing / Christian gathering where they were talking about, hey, stop transising our kids. And of course, that pissed off the lunatics in Seattle. Should we watch the arrest video? Nobody got pepper balled in the nuts.
No, they did, sadly. But, there's always hope because riot season is clearly going to kick off this year. It may not be a good one, but I think we'll get some.
I mean, Portland is where we've had much more of this kind of stuff. This is Seattle. This is actually happening right by where Chaz was, where Chop was. Did they ever decide which one of those is correct?
They go with Chop. I prefer Chaz because they were more honest with Chaz. because it
What-
was an autonomous zone.
Yeah, what was the OP in CHOP? I don't remember.
Capitol Hill occupied protest or something like that.
Oh yeah. Gay.
Yeah, lame. You had
Okay.
it sounded way cooler when it was an autonomous zone.
I'm gonna let this play a little bit as we talk. I turned off the volume on it. It's the police are arresting a couple of these guys, and from what the final video says, I think only 2 people got arrested.
I think only 2 people got charged. They cuffed like 5 or 6 people, if you watch.
I lost count. They were doing so many, and the guy's moving the camera a lot. It's hard to tell how many there are, but yeah, there's easily half a dozen that got tackled to the ground.
Yeah, they may have only taken 2 of them and just detained the others till they got away, but I really actually am impressed with the Seattle police's use of
Yes.
bicycles. The cops have been a lot better trained than they were during Chaz, and
Wait.
using the bicycles as like barriers is really smart.
I got to correct you on that because you said they're a lot better trained. They were perfectly trained then. The problem was they weren't allowed to do their job. We know that these police precincts all over the place were being told to stand down as these people were destroying cities.
Yeah, I think they've had more training since then, though, from what I've seen, because it looks like their tactics for handling these crowds are better. See how they've got an arc of bikes out there this time? They didn't have that. They weren't using that kind of technique until after they broke up Chaz. Because when they actually went into Chaz, they were using the bikes, but not like this.
They weren't, again, though, they weren't allowed to do their jobs. Chaz never should have happened. And if they'd been allowed to, what impressed me with this video, I'll hit play again. What impressed me with this video is that they are actually doing their job. This is why I'm not sure we're going to get the summer of love that we're, I don't want to say hoping for, expecting. I don't want to say hoping for.
It might kick off somewhere else too, because Los Angeles and Chicago both have pretty decent sized Antifa groups. So
you know what bothers me about this? I just got to throw this in there. It used to be, if you go back to like the 60s, right? You had a couple of diehard guys that were involved, but most of the guys that were there were like, oh, I'm going to bang one of these hippie chicks. How do these guys know, the ones who are joining up, who they're going to get to bang? Because they don't know if the hippie chick they're interested in has a wiener or not.
I think the degeneracy is so bad they don't care.
I feel like it would be because maybe it's a gay guy who's like, ooh, I like that feminine dude over there, and it turns out it's just a masculine female. Because a lot of their females are very masculine looking.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you have man tits as a woman? I don't understand.
That I've never understood. But look, I don't understand a lot of what's going on with these people because they seem like sad, lonely weirdos.
What? That dude looks like a sad, lonely weirdo to you?
I mean, yeah.
Speaking of man titties,
look at that. He's crying. Looks like
is that a
Jack
he?
Black.
I don't know that that's a he.
I think you could flip a coin on some of these, but the androgyny is really throwing me off.
It did impress me that they were at least doing something. And what we saw in 2020, it's not that Antifa was well organized or that BLM was well organized. It's they were allowed to do it.
Yeah. Hopefully things are changing, but people like Wheeler are still in office. So it may be less politically viable to allow riots in occupational zones, but I think there's plenty of Democrats out there that are more than willing to accommodate this, especially if it's an anti-immigration occupation. I think that could kick off in some of these places. Especially in like Minnesota, where they have a lot of like sanctuary towns and high Muslim populations.
In this clip, do you think that guy's crying because he thinks they're going to make him ride a bike and that's too much exercise?
Quite possibly. That's a good question.
I want to ride the bike. And meanwhile, the bike is going, don't put that fat guy on me.
Right?
But yeah, they did a decent job of keeping these assholes in check, keeping them back away from the main gathering that was going on. How dare you say don't abuse kids?
Yeah, you monster.
You
That's
know,
what Antifa's all about, is kid diddling, right?
you Trantifa types out there, you'd be doing yourselves a world of favor if when people came out and said, don't fuck with kids, you went, okay. Or just shut the fuck up. Don't come out and be like, we're totally gonna fuck your kids. That's a bad look. It doesn't play well even on CNN.
They do have a lot of like people in the sex offender registry in Antifa.
They really do.
That's a bit disturbing.
I hate that nobody got pepperballed in the nuts.
I know, monkey, but like I maybe later in this summer, August, maybe, it's carnival season. Maybe during Pride Month, they'll hit them in the girl balls.
I did see one of the videos of this because this is Frontline from Turning Point USA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the guy who's manning the camera, but at one point, a fat Antifa dude with his face covered comes up and puts his camera in this guy's face.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not the one who's afraid to be seen.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, these people are just weirdos that really need friends and hobbies, and they don't have any. And they're usually not smart enough to have a smart people hobby that would actually keep them occupied, like fly fishing or reading or anything like that. So they just congregate toward whatever group will take them, and it always ends up being like some sex offender support group or Antifa. I mean, let's face it, the majority of these people are very unattractive. They don't look very smart. They probably have extensive criminal records for petty shit that keeps them from getting jobs or from like acclimating into normal society.
Once again, going back to the hippies of yore, the hippie chicks were all skinny and at least mostly attractive looking. Who is joining Antifa for the possibility of banging that?
Yeah, well, let's be honest though. A lot of the hippies were college students, and a lot of them were at least fairly well read. They may have had some stupid ideas and believed the usual Marxist propaganda stuff, but at least they were a little bit more educated. A lot of these people are just useless idiots.
Oddly enough, I bet you they have more degrees than any of the hippies did. I'm just wondering how you join up one of these causes and you look at that and like, I'm going to join this cause so I can bang that. Were you touched by a lunch lady or something? How do you pick up that fetish?
I don't know, man. Sad.
There's been very few. I bet we could count it on one hand where we saw like one of these protesters and we're like, ooh, they're kind of cute.
It's really rare. There were a few back in 2020 that were like the people running cameras.
Yeah.
That were, not hideous mongoloids, but not my type.
Look,
but they weren't mongoloids.
Look, I can even admit Arix was ugly, okay?
Yeah.
But there was something about Arix that made me want to fix her.
Yeah, she had that kind of reprogrammable quality. There was one little redhead chick. She had like dark red hair, almost brown. That was pretty cute. She hung out with that dude the black dude that got hit in the nuts. But she wasn't around very much. I think the thrill wore off.
There was also, whoops, I don't want to do that. There was also that chick who, remember her boyfriend got arrested and she freaked out. She was kind of cute. She wasn't right home to mom about it. By the way, it says wait, hang on. It says Jonathan Cho from the Cho Show down underneath our avatars.
Oh, okay.
So that's who's running this. I want to make sure I give credit. Jonathan Cho, Choe. But look at him protesting.
Yeah, it's a bunch of like twos and threes gathering together. They might as well just call it an ugly convention. And they're there to protest a bunch of like Jesus people that aren't bothering anyone, having a
Yeah,
little get together in the park. Whatever. Let them do their thing. You guys have your events, they have theirs. Just leave each other alone. I don't see
you-
the Christian people going out to the Antifa conventions, sex offender meetings or whatever, and start like giving them a hard time.
this chick up here has to be a dude. That is way too skinny to be a chick from this group.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just making an ass of themselves for no reason and getting themselves arrested.
It's a status thing for them. These people aren't smart, man. I'm telling you. There's a bit. As soon as they get organized with
Oh.
like reasonably intelligent leadership, then we really have to worry. Until then, they're just a bunch of spurgy tards.
Hang on, Frosted asked what they're protesting. This was in Seattle. That's right by where Chop happened. I believe this is the park where they tried to make the gardens. I had to laugh because with my garden, my wife sent me the thing on how to make those hippie gardens where they put cardboard at the bottom. It just made me laugh. But anyway, a Christian group got together and they were having a rally to tell people to stop trying to.
What? Okay. Is that you or me?
What the hell happened there?
I don't know. You started drifting off.
I don't understand what's going on with my internet these days. Anyway, I have a donation coming through. I'm waiting for it to load up. There we go. Thank you, Tarkada. Have you seen the video of Portland police refusing to arrest a knife-wielding goofball? We got receipts, covered it yesterday. Portland found a hole in the rock bottom. No, I have not seen that. Katie asked hippie garden.
My God.
Okay, apparently there's something to this kind of garden. I don't understand why cardboard is part of it, but
yeah, it's biodegradable. But that's not what those clowns were doing at Chaz.
Yeah, the real way you're supposed to do this is you build like a planter kind of thing, and then you on the bottom of it put cardboard for reasons I'm not sure about. Over that, you put your trash. I'm sorry, compost. Over that, you put some more compost, but either I think it's less composted. And then you put a little bit of dirt, and then you put your seeds in, and it's supposed to make really great plants. I don't know what the cardboard is supposed to accomplish.
I think it's just because it's biodegradable.
Yeah, but you could use packing paper. Why? What is that level supposed to be doing?
I don't know.
But anyway, when they make Chaz, they decide to make a garden, and somebody had kind of heard about this before. So they lay out some cardboard, and they just put a little bit of dirt on top and try growing shit in it. And when I say a little bit of dirt on top, you could still see the car.
Yeah, the fact that you can see the cardboard.
Part of that garden, at least, was only for black people.
Yeah. That was the segregated part of the garden.
It's almost like they were just trying to keep to their Democrat roots and trying to starve black people.
Well, look, nobody was going to eat off of that garden, so
yeah, it was such a shit show. It was fucking wonderful. Birthday for Crocsman. Crocsman, it's your birthday. Around here, we does this and a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
to you.
To you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Crocsman. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Hope you have a good one. Really, really do. Thank you, gentlemen, in chat as always. Always happy to help when I see the questions. We had so much fun in the summer of 2020.
It was like a social experiment in Lord of the Flies, but with retards instead of like kids that crashed in an airplane or something. Or a boat, whatever it was. I haven't read that book in 30 years. But
I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Favorite moment of the 2020 riots?
Oh, dude, there's so many. That one guy getting shot in the nuts. The garden, of course. Watching the regional warlord come in. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to say that one black dude that was one of the camera guys getting shot in the nuts, and the medic saying like, it'll be fine. You don't need to go to a hospital. That was probably my favorite. That conversation with the so-called medic. Or when the cops moved in and took everybody out.
Sorry, I missed most of your answer there as my internet decided to be a jackass again.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I think I'd have to settle with that dude getting shot in the nuts, the camera guy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The medic trying to attend to him.
Told him to just wait and see. And if it gets worse, go to the doctor.
No, you get shot in the nuts, you go to the doctor immediately. That's your nuts.
I do love him. I can still see him kind of rocking back and forth. That's not my favorite, though. As much as I love it, and you guys know I love it, my favorite, and this is kind of dark, was on the freeway in Seattle.
Because the one lady's name was Summer.
Thank you. I was watching Replay 2020. I wish we had some.
Yeah, Faithless. He's talking about the flying women.
Hang on,
I'm dark, but that's fun. Switching internets. What did he do? Massage balls. He got pepper balled, like pepper balls bounce off the ground a lot, and he got hit in the nuts. And oh my god, it was so funny because he was filming like he went to a 7-Eleven and was complaining about it. Oh, so funny. I wish we were able to download a bunch of that footage from 2020.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sometimes when I switch, there's an issue with the mic, so I was happy that this isn't one of them.
Yeah.
When we watched the video of that lady getting hit, I laughed harder than I should have because it's fucked up. It really is. She ended up dying. But it is amazing to me. Not only did she get hit because she was going into the freeway, the police cleared the freeway for these idiots.
Mm-hmm. Some guy broke the. Well, he was going the wrong way anyway, so he was a criminal.
He was going the wrong way down a street. This is why you don't play in the road.
It's almost like people have been warned about that since they were small children.
And these idiots decide in the middle of the night, because it was like what? Our time, like midnight?
Oh, later than that. It was like midnight their time.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because this is in the summer, and it was dark when this happened.
Yeah, it was real dark, and you were about to bail when this happened.
And
that's usually when the exciting shit happened, was right around the time Monkey said, all right, I'm going to bed, this is boring.
The ragdoll physics in that moment.
Oh my god, it was crazy.
I'm not happy she's dead. I actually wish she would have lived so she could have learned the life lesson.
She wouldn't have learned anything. What are you talking about?
But watching it was funny as shit, and all the people like, oh my god, I can't believe the police let this happen. I'm with you. They shouldn't have been allowing you guys to go into the road like they did that whole fucking summer.
I don't think you could blame the cops for people being stupid enough to walk on a goddamn freeway. Who does that? I wouldn't even walk on the side of like the emergency lane. Somebody will still try and run your ass over.
You're not supposed to just be walking on the freeways.
Yeah, that's actually a crime in most places.
Frosted,
real quick. Oh, sorry.
Let me get Frosted's real fast. Thank you, Frosted. The cops didn't clear the road. That car did. True.
Yeah, it's kind of a street sweeper. Thank you, Keldrick. My mom does that cardboard thing in her garden. I don't understand it myself, but she doesn't sprinkle the dirt on. She buries that shit in her 2 geological layers of mulch and soil. So
Yep.
the plants can actually, grow. Yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it, but these are nonconformists, Keldrick. They are rebelling. They're subverting expectations by using a little sprinkle. Just a little sprinkle. It's like glitter. You don't want to do too much of it, I guess. But yeah, the roadway thing was really fucking funny.
I wanted to see if I could find a picture of the chop garden because it was amazing.
Yeah, I also liked when people would complain about their stuff getting stolen.
Yes.
Like, you're a bunch of fucking communists. And you're complaining about your laptop getting stolen out of your unsecured tent.
Here's them making it.
Yeah. They didn't have any more soil either. This was pretty much all of it.
That's about as thick as it got. And yeah.
You can see it's not even an inch thick. Nothing's going to grow in that. Maybe a couple of weeds, poison ivy or something, but that's about it.
You can grow more grass to cover the shit you're killing right there.
Right? And what got me was they were convinced this garden was going to sustain all of the autonomous zone. Yes. Like, they had so little clue about crops. Like, you might be able to feed one person, maybe 2 off of this, but you retards aren't going to be able to feed anybody.
Here's the completed part of it, where they planted flowers for some reason.
Yeah, how much you want to bet those were plastic?
I'm not even sure how they got these to stand up with as little soil as they have these fucking things in.
I don't know. Why would you plant flowers? This is supposed to be a garden. You should be putting food down for the winter, even though this was kind of late in the growing season.
Yeah. I mean, it's Seattle, so I don't know what their growing season is.
How much you want to bet a fourth of that is potatoes?
They were all potatoes, Jack.
Yeah, I know. I planted some carrots and potatoes. I don't know why they didn't grow on the cardboard.
I forget the name of this farming technique, but there's a lot of people who do it and swear by it. And I'm willing to believe that it works for them, but what they did in Chop was just sad.
I remember they named it the garden too, but I don't remember what it was because they were naming stuff.
It was the Feed the Negro garden.
over there, that's the colored section.
I just love that they actually did that. That it was like this part of the garden is only for the colored folk. I mean, sorry, the folk of color.
Yeah.
FL, thank you. This is why all the commie countries have famines. Exactly.
Yeah, because they don't know what they're doing. You get a bunch of like know-it-all sophomores, and suddenly now they're farmers, and you called their bluff, and then everybody dies.
And for the record, James, he said, didn't they ended up poisoning the ground with the cardboard that they were using? That I don't know about, but this is the better version of the garden. Because the original version of see how this is all round and stuff, and it actually kind of looks nice if it wasn't a hippie garden. The original garden was just tragic.
Oh, tragic is a polite way of saying it. It looked like spastics created a garden.
Yeah.
Like unsupervised, mentally ill people decided they're gardeners now.
Thank you, Wolfgang. Gat Day Bower. Gat Day Farmer. Bat. I don't know what that means, sir. Did I just cuss in Spanish or something?
Oh, dear God. Thank you, Frosted. You joke, but Poe's law still stands. Check your DMs. Also, a garden, especially for, quote, POC, end quote. One way or another, Democrats will get black people to pick their crops.
True.
And he sent me an article from April.
From April.
It's called Yeah, it's time to decolonize the garden.
Oh, of course.
You want to read it?
If you want to, sure.
I don't care. All right, here. All right. This is written by Crystal Jackson. Oh, I recognize that name.
That sounds familiar.
Therapist and author of the Heart of Madison series.
Yeah, let me pull it up on the screen for us. There we go.
You're going to love this.
Okay.
This first sentence has me hooked. I'm walking through the wild witch's apothecary garden I'm growing and thinking about
Jesus
oppression.
Christ.
I mean, what else would you think about when you're walking through a witch's apothecary garden? You think about oppression automatically and maybe torches.
I would think of mental illness. Because you
Yeah,
think you're a witch.
Some hippie bullshit. Unless you can cast fireball and magic missile, you ain't no witch. I'm sorry. It's a heavy topic in a serene place, but the news is far too full of human rights and environmental violations for me to think of anything else. Many
Hold that
Americans.
What's that? Dangerous. Thank you. Jonathan Cho, that's an awesome independent journalist. Matt's interviewed him. He's captured a couple of hilarious viral interactions, including a freaky looking trans lawyer. Serious nightmare fuel. I'll have to check it out. Thank you, sir. Sorry, Jack.
No, you're fine. Many Americans think what's happening is something new, but I know all too well that the roots of oppression run deep. It's past time to yank them out.
Okay.
You're gonna yank them out?
We are a full paragraph into this, and I have no idea what this bitch is talking about.
The roots of oppression, monkey. Oppression.
Yeah, but which oppression? There's so many.
Look, your oppressions, all of them. All of the oppressions.
Okay.
See, there's the oppressions of the women's, the redheads, the witches, the garden parties. The land I'm standing on is mine and not mine.
What?
See, according to the bank, it belongs to me, and I am the caretaker. According to the tax man, it's the government's. But the land I'm on is stolen! Taken long before my lifetime from indigenous tribes in the area.
We need to back up because this person doesn't understand how mortgages work, clearly.
Yeah. Well, caretaker. I mean, if you don't pay your taxes, the government's going to come take it. So kind of correct, I guess.
If you don't pay your mortgage, the bank is going to come take it because it belongs to them till you pay it off.
Yeah, that's true. But what is banking, man? Real quick. Thank you, Wild Witch Hag. Why the hell are these people walking through my garden? They're stepping on my rosemary, damn kids. Look, I understand that. They're like little bunny rabbits. They just want to steal some carrots and munch on those. Maybe steal some of your herbs, if you know what I'm saying, man. Thank you, though, Wild Witch Hag. Take it before. While it may not be my fault, it is now my responsibility. I am learning to care for the earth while acknowledging that it doesn't belong to me. It belongs purely to itself.
The fuck are you talking about?
The earth belongs to itself. See, Gaia is the living, breathing earth that we must worship and pay respect to, even though it's got a pee fetish and a poop fetish. I mean, that's just the thing, right? But it's more than just realizing the American history is rooted in genocide and oppression. That's right. I'm also unlearning the right way that I've been taught by society to garden. I'm doing this because I learned that the supposed right way is the colonizer's way, and it ignores the indigenous wisdom entirely.
You mean the people who couldn't farm in the same spot, so they had to keep moving around?
Yeah, because they didn't understand crop rotation or crop management. Yeah.
I mean, they did, but not to where you could do it in a centralized location.
like repeatedly.
Yeah.
I mean, look, people started really picking that shit up after the Dust Bowl because they were ignoring it, and
Yeah.
then the Dust Bowl happened. But hey, history. Um, I've written a lot about how I was changed by reading Robin Wall Kimmer's Braiding Sweetgrass. A friend recommended it to me, and it truly gave me a new perspective. One line of thought that I had, what?
Nothing. Keep going.
Was how colonizers assumed their superiority. Well, they kind of won, and ignored everything in the native people tried to teach them, like child sacrifice and scalping. They were so sure that the way they did things back home was the only way, and they ignored new knowledge to their detriment. But of course, people who assume superiority are often too blindsided by their ego to admit they were wrong. Instead, they assume the land is hard to work or that crops refuse to grow. I've never looked at a field and been like, those crops, they don't want to do this. They're refusing to grow. They're protesting. Any explanation is better than admitting that they didn't know what the hell they were doing and refused to listen to those who knew better.
Is she describing Stalin's Russia?
No, a lot of those were intentional famines. Maybe Mao.
Keldrig, thank you. This is stolen land. All right, then give it to the Native Americans and go camp in the woods like the hag you apparently want to be.
Yeah, some people are just retards.
I understand what you're saying about give it to the Indians, but no, because it's not the Indians' land. It's our land. Give it to another American if you can't appreciate it. Move your fat ass along.
Well, I think you'd be better off giving it to the bison because that's why they probably stole, like the Indians came and stole the land from another Indian tribe or whoever was here before they wandered over the Bering Strait. They didn't evolve here. They're Asians, for God's sake. I recently read another book, the title "To Remain Nameless" here, where the author assumed superiority, probably like Gardening 101 or something.
Probably.
It was all about how an English garden was vastly superior to any other, probably written for people in England. While I admit that an English garden has its charms in its country, I was aghast at how tone deaf the book was about other cultures and their gardening traditions. How much would it bet it was like English Gardening 101?
I mean, if I'm looking at, I'm trying to figure out how best to garden, I might look at England. They have very limited land and have to feed their people on it.
Yeah.
And it's not the best farming land.
No, it's very rocky.
And they've managed to feed their people for a long time before, trade became a much bigger thing. Maybe listen to them, dumbass.
People in like Machu Picchu didn't exactly leave a lot of handbooks laying around for how to do it on their turf. It depends on where you live. Like if you live in like the same region as like England, like you live in the same what is that, subtropical region belt, then maybe you'd want to look at that. You live in the desert, you'd want to look at some different books on gardening specifically for more arid regions or something like that. Not every book is going to apply to every region. It'd be foolish to think that they did. That's just short-sighted and stupid. While I cannot claim any personal indigenous wisdom as a white woman living in America, I can do my best to decolonize my garden.
Your carrots are smaller than your hand, lady. You're not doing very well.
She decolonized her lady garden. I'm choosing native plants over exotic ones. I must admit that when I first started planting my garden, I planted wisteria. I didn't realize it was a non-native and invasive plant. Well, maybe you should have looked that up, you retard. I just knew that it was pretty and fragrant. That's the most white woman thing I've ever heard.
An invasive plant?
Yeah, a lot of plants are invasive species. Just like pythons in the Florida Everglades. They're not native to the area.
Not native doesn't mean invasive, though.
Well, I mean, some things are invasive. You've been to a Starbucks? I feel like
True.
they're invasive.
The smell definitely is.
Yeah. The people of Chaz, like we talked about earlier, they were invasive.
Lucy
Like
says
weeds.
weeds. Is it technically a weed? Because if it's a weed, I can give you invasive. But if it's just a plant, you have to plant, and you're like, I brought that here, so now it's invasive. You're using invasive wrong.
I think a lot of people view plants that aren't native to the area as invasive. So
But
it's probably just a term of art that this person is using.
or they heard a term and didn't know what it meant, and so they just used it.
Well, we're on medium, so that's a 99% likelihood.
And again, I understand there's invasive. We have ivy here, and I've been trying to kill that shit for fucking 20 years.
Did you try peeing on it?
I have tried literally everything.
Yeah, a buddy of mine's dad used to go pee on the ivy plants and it would kill it. I'm like, dude, what is he eating and drinking?
Say, what does he drink? Because I'm willing to try that.
Yeah, urine will kill a lot of stuff. I think it's the salt content. I don't know.
When we first moved here, the ivy's growing up the house, and it looks really pretty until you're the one who has to take care of it.
Yeah.
And then it just eats the wood in your house, and like, nah.
Yeah, that shit's really destructive.
Yeah. Anyway,
but later, as I learned about the many benefits of planting a native garden, I could only look at the wisteria as an intruder in it. Is wisteria white? It's certainly
Probably.
lovely, but it's far from the best choice for my lady garden.
I don't want to think about this lady garden. I bet it smells like a fresh manure spread.
It's natural effervescence and not the invasive species that have been in and out of there. When I planned this year's garden, I looked for native plants. You were planting native people?
That's wrong.
Yeah. Easy there, Pogo. Okay, we don't need you burying people in your yard. The dog, he piddles. That's a John Wayne Gacy joke, for those of you who didn't get that. I researched my zone, I bet you did, and found societies dedicated to native gardens, and I learned. I added native dwarf fruit trees to my lawn. Murdered midgets. Even the flowers I'm planting around them are native to my region. I didn't place those plants in the colonizers' neat and structured rows.
What? Why not?
That'd be colonizer techniques. It's just throw shit all over the place. She's just throwing seeds around like Johnny Appleseed, just willy-nilly.
Lady, you do understand that we do that not just for organization, but so that we know how far apart we're planting them for the best growth. It's gardening shit that's been gained over hundreds of thousands of years. Well, when does gardening really pop up? Maybe 6,000 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been like Sumer era.
Yeah, so thousands of years, not hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands in the human experiment, Jack.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it was done with the prior civilizations Graham Hancock talks about, but
sure,
we're not allowed to recognize any of that stuff.
If you just throw your seeds down willy-nilly, you're actually wasting the seeds.
And a lot of stuff will be competition for each other. Like their roots are going to intermingle, and you're going to lose a lot of plants there. That's just dumb. Instead, I ignored the instructions printed plainly on the back of seed envelopes and planted close together. Added companion plants. You don't want them getting lonely. And began to structure the layers of a food forest.
Oh, fuck off, lady.
It just made a mess. You're just lazy. I dug a giant hole and threw everything in there. Because fuck your colonialism. For a food forest to work, it needs a canopy layer to provide shade and shelter. This could be a tall tree if the land is abundant, but for smaller food forests, this layer can be skipped. The next layer is the understory. Understory. Is that like the subtext of how you're insane? It could be
You know what doesn't grow a lot in forests?
Vegetables,
because you need the sunlight for them.
No, that's your colonialist thinking, monkey.
All right.
Stop noticing things. It could be a small tree or a tall shrub. a shrubbery. The next layer down involves smaller shrubs like berry plants. How much you want to bet this chick has like tons of poisonous berry plants around her house?
How much you want to bet this chick has a yeast infection right now?
I'm not putting money on that because I'll lose. But yeah, because I would have to bet no, but just because she doesn't go to doctors.
I use natural tampons like corn cobs.
Ew, 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 ew. Oh, she probably just has a rag that she stuffs up there like the old timey days.
Old days, yeah.
Or a cup. She's probably a free bleeder. The next layer is one where most edible plants are placed. Ground cover of or mulch is added to protect the plants. Root vegetables and climbing plants both add value below and above ground. Edible mushrooms can also be added for the companion of a full food forest. How much you want to bet those are magical?
Why does she use the word companion?
Oh, I'm sorry, for the completion of a food.
Oh, okay. But she used it earlier.
Companion plants are ones that are supposed to like not be competitory with the plants you planted. So like if you plant carrots, you plant something else near them so they're not competing with each other. I've heard that term before.
Snooch says corn tampons ribbed for your pleasure.
The trouble is if you don't get them right away, you end up with a corncob pipe up your hoo-ha.
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
I have half an acre of. Oh, sorry, what?
The thing like companion plants, it is a real thing, but this sounds like somebody. It's like arguing with people on the internet. I was just having a discussion about the fallacy thing in the comments to our last video.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that fallacies aren't a real thing. It's that the people on the internet who find out about them don't understand what they actually are. So anytime they get confused, they just throw it out.
Yeah, or they're losing. That way they think they sound smart, but they really come off as incredibly uninformed because they're using words wrong.
Yeah, and the idea of like a companion plant, I don't think she's using it in the gardening way. I think she's like, my potatoes are sad and lonely. I'm going to plant some raspberries near them so they can be friends.
Yeah. See that maybe then she thinks she'll get some raspberry flavored potatoes or something.
I would eat raspberry potatoes.
Ew. Thank you, Frosted Glass. So she's growing native plants with no real organization and doesn't pull weeds. Congratulations. You invented the field, you dumb bitch. I can't wait till it rains in your yard so you can yell, decolonize the pool.
Christ, this is stupid.
I have half an acre of land in a small town neighborhood. My understory trees are dwarf fruit trees. I think she's using code for dingleberries.
You have half an acre of land and never mind. Go ahead.
They take time to grow, so I know that a food forest isn't something I'll have overnight. It's something that takes time to develop. In another part of my lawn, I'm trying my hand at a Three Sisters garden where squash or melons are planted with corn and peas for a complementary garden. The peas can climb the corn, and the sunflowers I added, while the squash and melons can spread on the ground to create ground cover.
Wait a minute. She has half an acre, and she's planted a forest on it, and she has room for a squash/corn garden.
Well, it's a food forest. She does have a link there. I suppose I probably could look at that.
The one you gave me only has the first part of the story.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I had to put it in the archive.
Yeah, apparently Frosted did that for you too. After you got the original, he had it in chat there that he sent the archive.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
There's a complete guide to food forest layers. I will give you that link while I'm reading so you can look at what looks like a giant field of weeds. Seriously, I would slash and burn that whole fucking area. let's see. This indigenous style of gardening was something I came across in my research and wanted to try. Seriously, I don't mow my lawn regularly because I'm incompetent. So there's a lot of like sections that look like this so-called food forest that I would just take the weed whacker right through.
Okay, we got to be right around in here. Okay, you did send the other one? Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, she's at I'm gardening with care and attention. In Kimmerer's book, she wrote about how she doesn't pick the first or the last of anything that grows in the garden. I love this mentality.
What?
Yeah, starvation. Yeah, great.
Wait a second. Okay, I have the picture of the food forest up here.
Yeah,
where's the food?
Go back up to that first picture.
These little berries over here?
Yeah, that giant mess there. That's what I'm talking about. I would slash all of that down. That just looks like a side of the road weed farm. And I don't mean marijuana. I mean somebody that doesn't attend to their property.
What is a food forest? A food forest is a sustainable way. Anytime I see sustainable, go fuck yourself. Sustainable way of producing plant-based food. You mean plants that require minimal maintenance. It mimics a natural forest setting. Oh, okay. All right, fine. Go ahead. Sorry.
When I harvest my garden, I leave the first and last for the wildlife. I don't assume everything that grows is mine to take. You're supposed to be the gardener, so yeah, it is yours. Those bunny rabbits can go fuck themselves. I apply it to everything. When I pick dandelions, I don't take the first or last I see. I leave some for the bees and other pollinators to enjoy. My relationship with the...
What are you doing with dandelions?
You can eat dandelions.
You can, but
yeah, in like salad or something.
You could
fucking gross, but you do you.
All right.
Look, I just assume she's the dirty hippie weirdo lady that like mutters to herself while she's picking stuff out of her yard, and the kids that go by are like, "Why is she doing that?" I don't know. My dad says don't make eye contact with her. Just go. She doesn't mow her lawn. My relationship with the earth remains respectful and reciprocal because I don't treat it like a commodity that's free for the taking.
Yeah. What are you giving the earth here?
She poops on it.
I guess.
She uses all natural compost. I'm thinking carefully about anything and everything I add. I'm even more careful about what I don't add. For instance, no pesticides are used on my property. Oh, now it's your property? I thought this was stolen land, bitch. What if some Cherokee come by and they're like, we want to throw some DDT down? Huh? What are you going to do, bitch? I'm not about to introduce anything that will threaten the health of my local area wildlife or the health of myself, my children and pets, and my community. Oh, God, she has kids.
What the fuck does... maybe that's in regard to the pesticide. I'm like, does she think potatoes are going to hurt someone?
I mean, you ever been hit with one?
Yeah.
They fly pretty good. I use companion planting methods as a way to repel potential pests, but I also allow nature to take its course.
Wait. Why are you... Those pests are part of the natural environment. You should be allowing them to eat what they want. That's not very reciprocal, lady.
It's hypocritical, but I don't think she knows that word. And I recently ordered local ladybugs to help provide natural garden pest control. And I also purchased nematodes to help benefit the soil. It's an imperfect system, but I know that anything harvested from my garden is free of toxic chemicals. Just a bunch of bugs.
I bet her fucking neighbors are so happy this bitch ordered lady. Do you live where you get a lot of ladybugs?
Yes.
God, I hate those fucking things.
Oh, they're so hard to get rid of too. And the slightly dark orange things that look like ladybugs but aren't. They're fucking pain in the ass to get rid of.
I'm curious why she had to order local ladybugs. Seems kind of invasive if they're not there already.
You're not supposed to point out her hypocrisies, Monkey. She's being a narcissistically altruistic.
Yeah, ladybugs can be a pain in the ass. I'll take them over the crickets because the ladybugs at least don't sit out my window ruining my streams.
Yeah, crickets and grasshoppers are just socially acceptable roaches.
Yeah.
I'm rooting out the old ways of doing things in favor of older ways. Because I'm special. I'm unique and quirky. We all know that the United States of America was built largely on the genocide of the natives who lived here already. Technically, a plague did that before Columbus got here, but let's just not pay attention to that.
But it wasn't built on the genocide anyway. I mean, it was built on the land. We're being reciprocal, lady.
Yeah, look, we were giving those natives back to the earth. That's awful.
We're just trying to get some phosphorus back in there.
We're mulching the Indians.
Yeah.
Understanding this. Oh, sorry, what?
I don't know what her problem is here.
Understanding this is not where the work of decolonizing ends. You know, you have to go back and figure out which tribe had it first. Good luck with that. I don't know. I really hate this noble savage bullshit. Like the Indians never fought with each other until Whitey came.
If this bitch ain't living in a teepee, I don't want to hear any shit about her about colonization.
Well, that'd be cultural appropriation. So she's gonna stick with her house.
This isn't written, carved in wood on a bunch of chunks held together by hemp rope. The bitch wrote it on a iPad.
Yeah. She's benefited highly from all this.
You know, like the natives did.
Yeah. If you're not in a mud hut, lady, I'm sorry. You're just a cultural thief. Sometimes I have to think about the way I'm doing things, even beyond gardening, that might come from a colonizer standpoint rather than indigenous wisdom. Like,
they were so wise they were wiped out by smallpox and honkies.
Yeah, you were so wise you didn't have the wheel. I'm learning to consider a perspective that's been around for ages, but it's new to me. Living simple does not mean living well, okay? No. It's a harder life. You're going to die very young and probably have something curable.
Yeah, I just watched the Office where Michael is upset that he didn't get invited camping, so he goes to do it himself.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of that one, he gives it because he failed miserably, and in Michael's world, he never fails. He's got an excuse for it. And in this case, it's that, hey, man created the indoors and stuff because it's just better. And they're trying to make him look stupid, but he's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I promise you, there is nothing you're going to go back 1,000 years and be like, wow, it is so much better here.
Yeah, it's not like they had laser beams day one at 8 a.m., to butcher the paraphrase Time Bandits.
I pointed out the other day when Twitter was having issues how spoiled we are because people are like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And all it was is DMs weren't working.
Yeah.
And I pointed out my dad, who was born in 1950, grew up in a house that did not have indoor plumbing.
Yep. Both my parents had that as well.
This is Michigan, and he had to shit in a wooden structure in the middle of Michigan winters.
Yeah. It's so cold, your turds are freezing before they're halfway out your ass.
I poop in a warm room with light.
And you don't have to worry about dumping it or anything like that. You just flush and the water takes it away. We need to get back to nature. Fuck you. Yeah.
Nature is violent and boring.
And your life would be short, brutal, and largely ignorant.
Yes.
Farmers in like the 1500s were illiterate. They struggled. They had to do everything by hand. If they were lucky, they had like an ox. And you probably didn't have a lot of everything you need to stay healthy because you couldn't grow it or kill it. We eat better than kings. Our poor people with microwave meals are eating better than kings did in throughout all of history, for that matter.
I'm growing my garden right now, just like this lady, right? Because I have my tiny little garden going, Jack, because I want tomatoes and it's a good way to get me up and moving and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had to make my own food. You know, I've never had to go kill something so I could eat, or had to go foraging so I could eat. That's a good thing.
Oh, that's a very good thing. We I just don't look. We have chemicals and nasty shit in our food, yeah, but you don't have to eat that stuff.
Nope.
You can buy healthier food, which I should probably start doing. But there is a point where you're so far removed from your food that you don't really pay attention to where it comes from. I understand that. But going back to living how people did before the wheel, not the alternative you think it is. These people that do this are probably going to get very sick. Pausing is...
They'll deserve it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, it'll be of their own doing. They just won't admit it. And a lot of people that try this stuff, they don't do it very long. I knew a couple people that tried to do homesteading, but it was a lot of work. And the payoff is not that good. So, yeah, you want to have a survival garden or something, that's cool. But don't rely on it, because you'll probably die. Pausing is part of the practice. I try not to do things reflexively. I'm taking the time to think about the way I do things and the why of it. So you're navel gazing and you're like, I'm so awesome. I don't assume the way that I've always done something or the way my family has done it is superior to other ways. In fact,
that's the first good thing she said, but she's going to ruin it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, you know she is. In fact, any sense of superiority needs to be uprooted if we're going to do the real work of personal growth.
I don't do a garden for personal growth. Wolfgang, thank you. If she went back to nature, then no more blogging. Yeah, no shit. There is a point there that is good. You shouldn't just assume your way is the best. But once you look at it, you have to admit your way is the best if it is.
Yeah, if it's working well and other ways haven't worked, then maybe it's the best for you or your environment.
A road irrigated garden is better than just throwing a bunch of seeds on the ground going, they're companions, they'll like each other.
Yeah, what if raspberries are racist?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, we don't want your corn around here.
I'm 50 years old. I don't give a rat's ass about personal growth. I'm not on a quest to find myself, Jack.
I'm already pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy with who I am. I recognize my flaws and accept them. This is like a 20-year-old college student, like, oh, I'm developing myself. I'm better than you. Fuck you. Go sip your lattes at your Starbucks and drink your pumpkin spice and leave me the fuck alone. I don't care about your nonsense. I don't want to know your influences. Okay, nobody cares about your character. Okay, I'm planting new seeds in my life. It's not entirely a metaphor to say that I'm planting new seeds in my life because I have planted more fruits, flowers, and vegetables this year than I have before. Not than I have before, which would be proper grammar. That I have before, which is improper. Some of the varieties are entirely new to me, but it's also true that I'm planting different kinds of seeds. Is that her saying she's banging a black dude? I'm teaching my children to think before plucking the dandelion out of the grass or pulling a weed without first learning what it is and how it can be used.
Wait, you can't pull weeds in your house? You know what I'm learning here, Jack? And she hasn't said it explicitly yet, but this woman has recently been dumped within the last couple of years.
Well, we haven't heard about a dad, have we?
Nope, have not at all.
So, yeah, there's a good possibility that is the case. I'm also writing about what I'm doing in hopes that someone else finds this perspective beneficial. Oh, you're so wise.
You're an
Listen,
idiot.
Yeah, I'd like to pass along some dumb ideas. Would this make her the colonizer then, because she's colonizing other people's brains?
It's very arrogant of her.
It really is.
For the record, I think I have something to contribute to the world. That's why I give my voice. It's not just that I love hearing myself, Jack. I can talk to myself without a microphone on.
That's true.
But I love these people because earlier she's giving this aura of humility, of being humble, and now it's like, I just hope this can help somebody. This is a savior, is what this is.
Oh yeah, this is savior complex. But look, Monkey, if you knew how humble she was, you'd be so impressed with her modesty.
I've had so many people tell me how much me talking about like all the shit I've been through helps them, and I'm glad it does. I really am. But I've never told those stories going, I hope this helps somebody. It's just my life. Because I'm not arrogant enough to be like, I can save you.
Yeah, I don't try to save people. That just blows up in your face. Because people won't be saved unless they want to be saved, and most people don't want to be saved.
This is just white girl syndrome right here.
Yeah, it's a white man's burden.
No, this is white women save the world. We can save everybody.
Well, it's
gonna fix those sins of the past. So the Native Americans that died of smallpox, largely from other non-English people, they will be avenged by me planting dandelions and telling my kids not to pull weeds without doing homework first.
Wait till you hear this next part. It's not enough just to yank out many lifetimes worth of colonization.
Oh, God, fucked.
It's also important to create new ways that rely on old wisdom. This is just about her stealing indigenous culture.
Again, if this bitch ain't living in a tent made out of hides, I don't want to hear it from her.
Hides? No, Monkey. It's all made out of hair, because stealing an animal hide is horrible. You filthy meat eater.
Hey, she's okay with the indigenous ways.
Well,
and the indigenous people absolutely ate meat.
Oh, yeah, they also raped neighboring tribesmen, but they didn't really. She's not going to look into that either. To pair progress with genuine care and intention.
Fuck off.
Oh, intention. Okay.
The road to hell, my friend.
Yeah, indeed. If we want our society to be different, we have to be willing to be the ones who color outside those lines, even if no one else joins us. You mean like the Amish? You hate them because they're Jesus people.
Go ahead and be weird. I don't care if you're weird, lady, but stop trying to pretend you're on some fucking holy pilgrimage here.
Yeah, you're not going to change the world this way. I've had a little practice. For a long time, I was referred to as many things. Town whore. Spiritual, a mystic, pagan. I've had a lot of concepts lobbied my way to describe who I am, but I am so unique and quirky. You can't understand how unique I truly am. Oh, sorry, that part's not in there. But only one felt right to me, and I will admit that it's a controversial choice. I've reclaimed the title of witch.
You're so brave.
Stunning and or brave, Monkey. So are the villagers allowed to burn her now? Is that how this works? Well, some shrink from the term. What?
She capitalized witch.
Yeah, she did.
Okay, go ahead. It's her
her just like you capitalized black people, you know. Well, some shrink away from the term and its association with evil. I know there is nothing evil in the craft. Oh man, Fruza Balk was so weirdly hot in that movie. Primarily because its core tenet is to harm none. Except when they do. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. The propaganda around witchcraft is so strong that it still pervades our culture. Probably because of all the devil worship you people do. It's in the media we watch and the language we use. But witches were never mystical beings wanting to harm others. I think the Blair Witch would disagree with you. They were all... I made myself laugh. They were always women who were too wise and powerful for the patriarchy to abide.
That's why I didn't laugh at your joke, because I was reading ahead to that, and I was actually slack-jawed here.
Oh, God. Look, there were people that lived on the outskirts that used natural healing methods. They were called cunning women, usually. They were just like herbalists. Or basically an alternative doctor. Not witches that were fighting the patriarchy. That is not what the witches were doing, bitch. Satan worshippers. They were people who thought for themselves, relied on old wisdom, and were deeply intuitive. No, just because some bitch figured out that moss covered a wound and helped it heal doesn't mean she was like, oh, I'm deeply intuitive and in touch with the old ways. Shut the fuck up.
Hey,
We may
lady,
not burn witches anymore.
I need her to go to her local Indian tribe and tell them she's a witch.
Well, the shaman might say she's a skinwalker and have her killed, but you never know. The shamans don't like competition.
Yeah.
We may not burn witches anymore. Well, here in the States, that I don't think that was ever done. We mostly hung them.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the one in Salem that was crushed with rocks, although he was innocent. Like all of them, I think, were. But yeah, we mostly hung them.
Yeah.
So stringing up just isn't for black people, okay? They did that with a lot of people. Horse thieves, witches, all sorts of people got a lynching. We may not burn witches anymore, but the fact that so many women are reluctant to own the term tells us everything we need to know about modern day persecution.
Oh my God, the bitch goes on.
Persecution for the witches. Oh, boo-hoo.
No.
Shut up.
Maybe the women are reluctant to use the term witch because they're older than 12. Just a thought.
Right? Witch persecution. That's a real thing that still goes on. Whatever. Shut up. There's like entire stores that cater to witches. Shut up. At the end of this article, I've attached some additional resources to provide more insight into the colonization of horticulture, as well as how to decolonize an individual garden. I'm not an expert.
Really?
Rather, I'm a lover of nature and the garden who is eager to learn.
Wow.
Okay. Learning should be an ongoing endeavor. The garden is teaching me with every season. I learn how to better care for the things I plant. I'm also learning more about the land I'm living on and how best to be a caretaker. Throughout all the lessons, I'm still figuring out how colonization has impacted me, and how to make the necessary changes to correct the harm done by past generations.
Didn't she start off by telling us she's learned this shit from a book?
Books were made by Europeans, so you need to shut your filthy colonizer hole.
You think those books were written in Mayan?
Yeah.
You think they were printed out on a Mayan printing press? You got to stop reading, lady. One, you clearly speak English, which I'm fairly certain that when the first colonizers landed here, the natives didn't.
Scrolls and tablets for everybody. Like stone tablets, not iPads. So that's all you're allowed to use.
I'm so tired of white women and their colonizer bullshit.
Yeah, because they're such hypocrites. They use all they're not making animal skin notepads. They're not making papyrus notes. They're using books. They're using computers. They're using all of Western culture, but then bitching and moaning about it.
Let's be clear here. Colonization happened for women.
Hate fact.
We men would still be sitting in a cave playing with our nuts as the fire danced in front of us if it wasn't for some bitch going, I'm bored, and us having to figure out some way to entertain you.
Yeah, or I don't like this cave. I want something better.
You ever see those things where like some guy will post a picture of his apartment, he's got like just the chair in the living room with the TV, and it's like a lawn chair, and women are like, how can men live like this? It's because we're easy to get along.
We don't require a lot.
No, we do this shit for you guys. And it helps us too, yeah. But we do this shit for you guys.
How many single men do you know that own throw pillows?
None.
Yeah.
Even gay men are like, that is so gay.
Yeah, they get them as gifts from women.
Yeah.
They're like, where'd you get these throw pillows, dude? Fuck, I don't know. They just showed up.
I have one throw pillow. We have several in the house, but I have one, and it was a gift from one of my granddaughters.
Yeah, and you know what you do with throw pillows when you sit down? You move them out of the way. Unless your back hurts.
And I will say that, like in pictures and stuff, it looks really nice with the throw pillows. But if you're actually going to sit or lay on that couch, you're like, get this fucking thing off of me.
Yeah, they're just in the way.
Why are throw pillows so uncomfortable?
I don't know, because you hear the word pillow, you think something comfortable. But the ones that are kind of comfortable have that giant like metal piece in the center. You know, the like circular thing that punctures all the way through. But the donut area around it is perfectly comfy. You just can't lay on it then.
It's amazing to me. But women, it's all for you. Quit bitching. Go live in a cave, lady. Show me how much you really believe in this decolonization shit and go find a cave to live in.
Go back and live in some tribe somewhere, and then when you're menstruating, you have to go out to the menstrual hut because you're too crazy to be in society.
To the women, I'm not complaining about us doing all this stuff for you. It's made life much, much better. But stop biting the hand that feeds. The fucking patriarchy, they made this shit. Even things like the washing machine and the vacuum and stuff. Oh my God, you think that's women's work? It was at the time, and these things were done to make women's work easier for them.
Do you know how hard it is to clean a rug?
Oh, yeah.
By hand. I mean, without like carpet cleaner, you had to take the rug outside and wash it and then hang it up and beat it with a stick to get the dirt off.
Yeah.
Not in that order necessarily. Usually you hit it with the stick until the dust came off, then you washed it. But yeah, it was not easy. It was very labor intensive. So what did we do? We built machines to save time and save strain on our beautiful ladies.
Women used to have to go down to the creek with a basket and a washboard to clean your clothes.
Yeah, but dudes didn't want handies from chicks that had fists like longshoremen. So they're like, you know, I like the softer hands. Let's make some equipment that they don't have to do all that dangerous shit for. Because women would fall and drown, or because a lot of people didn't know how to swim, or they'd fall through the ice, or dangerous shit would happen. Like you'd worry about bears and Indians and stuff like that when you were out doing the wash. So we made indoor equipment so you didn't have to do all that crap. And do we get any thanks or appreciation? No, they just bitch about it.
How dare you colonize? I bet this bitch could not go a day without her phone.
Oh, yeah. You know she's typed this up on her laptop over at Starbucks or whatever local coffee shop she's got.
And this goes to the whole thing with men and women complimenting each other. Woman unhappy, man make better.
Yeah.
It's a symbiotic relationship. And shut up. Just enjoy it. Fuck.
Nope, not allowed to. You have to be a miserable bitch. I think you're right, though. I think this woman got dumped.
Of course she did.
Or her husband left her because she's a crackpot.
She's completely uprooted her life to become a natural farmer with her food forest in a half acre of land.
Yeah, I bet she poops in a bucket just to save it for the compost, too.
Probably.
No court's going to take her kids away. This is our time. Many of us are returning to gardens. It's not just in liberal and progressive communities, although they're better than everybody else, especially those dirty magatards. Many prepper groups lean largely conservative. There's a vast difference between gardeners and preppers.
Yes.
Vast difference. Lady, you are not going to get along with preppers. They're going to see you as a resource. Be like, yeah, we can hang out, but if shit hits the fan, I'm totally looting your house, bitch.
Right?
Gardening crosses political barriers, but that doesn't mean it's apolitical.
Oh my
Of course
God.
it doesn't. Because it's communist, right? It's deeply political, but we can bridge much of the gap between us if we can come together side by side to learn and plant different seeds. We have the potential to grow together as long as you adopt my way of thinking.
How is gardening political?
Because it fights the norms and it hates Trump. I don't know.
All right.
There's not a better time to do this. The best time is always right now. I'm starting small. I'm learning a little at a time. I'm not trying to become an expert on the topic of decolonization, but I am interested in learning more. Would you like to know more? As I plant my food forest and nurture my garden, I'm putting down roots of my own in this world. It's a little different than my neighbor's garden, I know. But I've stopped bemoaning the lack of change to become it instead. This isn't the hill I'll die on, but it's the land I stand on. I'm doing what I can to honor it. Scene.
Wait, in her additional resources, there's a picture here with aluminum racks with gardening stuff on it. I feel like that the Native Americans, as far as I know, weren't capable of molding aluminum into stands for your garden.
Shows what you know, bigot. They had all sorts of metals that they didn't tell anyone about. There's no evidence of.
I'm so why and how to decolonize your yard.
Yeah, you just go out there and poop on it, right? Just like the dogs do.
I decolonize my yard by running my lawnmower over it.
Well, I remember one of these we read a long time ago was talking about using human poop to fertilize it. I was like, oh man.
I mean, you can, but you have to be very careful with it.
I mean, how did the whole town get dysentery?
Yeah, you can make people really, really sick if you don't know what you're doing.
Well, I mean, these are dumb hippies we're talking about. So thank you for that article, Frosted. I think
I'm not totally opposed to everything she said, especially about, making yourself a garden and learning how to garden and not just assuming your way is the best way.
Yeah.
Everything else she said is stupid.
Monkeys and typewriters,
Yeah. All right. Well,
it's all so tiresome though. These people are so they don't actually do research. They find things that agree with them and use that. So they always have like partially correct things, but they're never actually like
smart.
Doing things the smart way or the efficient way. It's always like some throwback, half-hearted way of doing things that are some sort of weird hybridization, and then they claim victory.
Well, even in the beginning of this, she tells us it's her witch's apothecary garden, which is not a garden that's going to sustain you. I don't care how much you tell me you can eat dandelions. You are not going to plant enough of those to sustain you ever. So most of her garden here is that she just wants things that she can mix with the eyes of frogs and shit and be like, I'm a witch.
Yeah, I cast spells.
It's just nonsensical bullshit that she's throwing out there to try to sound smarter than she is.
Oh, that seems to be quite the case in a lot of these instances, though.
A half acre of land for a woman with children is not going to be enough to sustain you for anything, especially if you have no, like, say, chickens running around.
No. It might be enough to lure in some deers that you could kill and eat.
Sure. That would be a way if she was using it for that.
That'd be the traditional way of doing it.
But my food forest. That's not a food forest. It's a miskept lawn. You fucking weirdo. I planted
Right?
trees. Get fucked. I
That's
hate
a
these
patch of
people, man.
weeds.
This is like with the
I
whole
know.
thing when that layered garden became a thing with the cardboard on bottom. I get it. It can work for some people, but you don't got to go through all of that for a garden. You really don't. I promise you don't. For the most part, if you can buy a seed and you're in a warm enough climate or a cold enough, depending on the seed, you can just put your finger in the ground and then drop that in there and then cover it up and it'll grow. That's
You
just
know
a
what you'd
natural.
find in the.
Go ahead.
Oh no! Please continue.
I say that's just how seeds work.
Like,
And if you want to get better and have an actual garden and stuff, yeah, learn how to work the soil and learn what kind of things grow really well there. Figure out the pH balance and all that shit of your stuff, or just buy Miracle Grow and grow the shit. Stop trying to make it into some life thing. Like I stopped watching Sticks. I hadn't watched a lot of them, but I stopped watching him altogether when he went all in on his little lady garden thing. Because
oh yeah, that's been a few years.
these people don't just have a garden. It become that I am a gardener now. This is my. It's like people who do weed and it's the only thing about them now.
Yeah, it becomes some conversation topic because they don't have personalities or hobbies. It's not a thing you do. It becomes your whole existence.
Thank you, Shroom, for becoming a member for month number 22. You need, on average, 1 acre per person if you want to support your family. Yeah. You know what else you need? Depending on where you live in the country, the ability to can. You better be able to put that shit into canning
well, that'd be
jars.
colonialist of you.
It would be, absolutely, because as far as I know, the natives didn't have the use of metals to can shit.
No, they didn't have glass for that matter. So
There
canning
was
and
some
preserves. Oh fuck. Oof.
there was some very primitive food storage, but nothing that you could sustain for long periods of time unless all you like eating is dried corn.
Yeah.
Anyway, lady, if you really want to get to the decolonizing part of all this shit, what you need to do is just go find a cave. You got dumped. You're probably getting close to the wall or already smacked right into it with your face. You got some kids nobody else wants to raise. And so you're looking for meaning in your life. And instead of just going, I'll make a garden, you have to make it extra. It's a special garden. It's my apothecary garden.
It's her witch's garden.
Which
is like a lady garden, but for ugly people.
I have trouble taking anybody in the modern day using apothecary seriously.
Like if it's the name of your store or something, but yeah, if they're like, oh, I'm an apothecary, I'm like, are you?
If somebody
You're
tells
just a
me
drug dealer.
Exactly. Apothecary just means drug dealer these days. All right. I teased it a little bit, so we might as well talk about this before we wrap this up. And this one will be quick because I need to pee, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Rikiada. Did you see Bering's video?
No, I saw it was posted, but I didn't get a chance to watch it.
All right. So I have not kept up a lot on what Nick is up to these days.
Oh, dear God. It's fucking balls out crazy.
I do want to say that I saw somebody who was they got into a little argument with Nick online, and they're like, you think about me constantly. And I've had people say this kind of stupid shit to me before, like, why are you so obsessed with me? Like, I respond when you respond. I'm laughing at you. You're clearly upset by me. And I asked that person, like, do Do you really think he's just sitting around being like, oh my God, that fucker on the internet said this about me? And I don't know. I think what's happened with Nick is both a tragedy, and I hope he gets his shit together and takes care of his children.
Yeah.
But he goes on to a show with Camelot. And I was looking for a picture that I could bring up of Nick, but they're all horrible pictures. He tells the story about how Aaron Imhoff, the husband of his whore, I don't know a better way to say that.
I believe they call it a nanny right now.
Once partook. We're going to try to be as careful as we can with this, Jack, not too gross.
Oh, I say go for it. We already read about a witch's garden.
No, I don't want to be gross on this one because it is gross. But he partook of Nick's man mayo.
This baby batter?
His baby batter.
His man seed?
And the way he tells the story is that April, the lady, Nick had
Finished.
Left a deposit on her chest and gets up and leaves the room. And then Aaron is walking past the door, sees his naked wife there covered in Nick's DNA, and decides to go in there and eat it.
Off her chest?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that him and Nick may have been doing something a little bit gayer than that.
Yeah. What kind of woman just okay, the dude who banged her gets up and leaves and leaves a deposit on her chest, and she just lays there long enough for somebody to happen to walk by and see it?
Or worse, she got up and it's like running down her chest, so there's dribbles all over the floor. Oh yeah, you said not to get gross with it. Sorry.
And here's the thing. I don't want to know this story. And I don't watch Nick anymore anyway. But if you want to get past all of this shit, why would you bring up this story?
Because he hasn't figured out that he needs to rehabilitate his image. He just doesn't care. He either thinks he's above it all or he hasn't hit rock bottom.
I think he thought it was an own. And I mean, it
did.
It kind of is, because if he just came out and said, yeah, he took it from the tap, then people are going to call you gay. But this story, it's not like it makes Nick look good. It just reinforces.
No, he's banging some other dude's wife.
It just reinforces to everybody the degeneracy that was going on, which literally nobody needs to know about.
Yeah, look, Caligula, I don't need the details, okay? I know you're a fucking sex weirdo. I don't want to know about what other dudes have tasted your fluids. It's gross and weird.
Wolfgang, thank you. Or is it fake creative writing BS? LOL.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with Nick. He's an unreliable narrator, so you don't know if it really happened or not. But
I'm sorry. I've seen Aaron Imhoff, and I have no doubt this is not the first man juice he's tasted.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about other people's sex lives. If I'm not involved, I don't need to know this shit, okay? This is some weirdo stuff with their weird little polyamory wife swapping nonsense. I don't need any of that drama in my life. It always ends in heartache, much like it did here.
Nick, on the off chance that you listen to this, just stop. Just go back to doing your court stuff. Just do the court stuff. You were doing well with that shit.
Yeah. I think I tried watching some of his one stream, and he looks so disinterested, and he gets off topic real easily. He looks highly distractible. His heart's not in it at all. I was watching one of the Keto Casino clips about Nick, and it was on one of his streams, and they said he made on average like $3 an hour. because the
Wow.
donations have dried up. People aren't watching him anymore. And I
Yeah,
was like,
he
yeah,
used to-
that kind of tracks because I didn't see any donations when I was watching his stream. I'm sure he's still doing fine. He's probably making more money than that. But it just, he doesn't seem to be interested in what he's doing. And he gets derailed. He's distractible. There's something wrong with him, whether it's an after effect of heavy drug use or alcoholism, or he's still on the sauce or something else. I don't know, but it ain't right.
When it comes to, I don't know what video you watched. I did catch a little clip of him talking about the Karen Reed trial.
Yeah, that's
And-
what I was watching. Was his coverage on that?
The Karen Reed trial there in the town that it's happening is
Yeah,
huge news.
Oh yeah,
And while it is, being covered on the national stage and stuff, it's not like the Rittenhouse trial. You don't have people in the general public as deeply invested as you do there's some of the locals who are just some weird fucking characters. But it's not like the Rittenhouse trial where there were so many invested in it. So maybe find a more interesting trial. The Diddy one's going on right now, and I don't think cameras are in the courtroom, but you could talk about it.
yeah. There's plenty of people doing synopsises of what's going on in there. Inner City Press is doing a great job covering it.
Oh yeah.
But there's lots of articles and stuff you can cover. So, yeah, the Karen Reed trial is interesting. I've been following it, but most people aren't. And
No.
it's not really a big national story. That's not the Lindbergh kidnapping or the Rittenhouse trial or crime of the century stuff, But I don't know why he's covering stuff and looking so incredibly disinterested.
I have a theory on that.
He's dreaming about drugs.
No,
No.
I don't think the drugs are as big a part of his life as the alcohol clearly was.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true. I would agree with that.
He partied it up for a little bit, but you never hear. I mean, we have Hunter Biden, but when it comes to specifically cocaine, not crack, cocaine, you don't hear about these, life-ending struggles of people who did it for just a little while. That's more heroin. That's more meth, where it just absolutely ruins you. Again, I am not saying cocaine is good. Please understand that.
Well, he wasn't just doing cocaine though.
But the other ones that he was doing that at least he names off, I don't want to say he named them off. I'm pretty sure he did. But things like ketamine and stuff like that, you're still not talking about the issue with opiates, I forget which way you're supposed to say that. Heroin, basically.
Yeah.
Is it such a mind fuck, and the physical dependency on it is painful. It's literally painful.
Yeah.
If you come away from, if you're really, really addicted to heroin and you come off too quickly, you can die from that shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't really get that with Coke. However, alcohol will fuck you up.
Yeah. I honestly am not convinced he's given up drinking.
At least on camera, from what I've seen so far, he's not drinking when he goes live. And I think that's part of it. He doesn't have that happy drunk at the end of the bar thing going on anymore.
Yeah. Now he's like a sad, bitter person. Just seems like all the joy has left his life because the Jack Daniels bottle's in the other room.
And before anybody's like, "Oh, monkey, Coke is bad." Coke is bad. Yes, you can get addicted to it, but compared to what the other ones do to you, it's worlds apart. Anyway, Jack, we're going to wrap up on Nick telling a really gross story for no reason.
Yeah, he's been doing stuff like that for shock value or something. I don't know, but he needs to grow the fuck up. He's got kids, and he doesn't seem to give any shits about his kids at all because he keeps telling these stories. This stuff is going to haunt your kids. They still have to go to school, dude.
Just let this shit go. You don't need to embarrass the guy. You already took his wife from him.
Yeah, like I know he homeschools his kids, but they're hanging around with other homeschool kids, and they go to church and stuff like that. You think nobody's going to give these kids crap for the rest of their lives about this?
They're eventually going to grow up and leave home and find out about this shit.
Oh, it's going to be so much worse.
His oldest son's friends are probably listening. Oh yeah. Anyway, guys, we're wrapping up here. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. Thank you for the donations. You guys are so kind. Jack, anything you want to shell out?
I'll drop a link to a video. As always, thank you guys for coming out and supporting the show. Thanks for all the donations and tips. You guys are awesome. And it's fun chatting with you guys and tormenting you with the imagery of Nick's man juice on some chick's chest. That is, I'm sorry, she's out of his league. I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
Blue Eyed said, "What a story to come into." That's what Aaron said. Have you seen the chick that's hanging out with Ricky Berwick?
Yeah.
Let's just say it's amazing what a little clout and money will do for you. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. World's a weird place.
Because
like, share, and subscribe.
I like Ricky fine, but let's just be honest here. No woman is looking at Ricky Berwick and needing to change her panties. Okay,
is it wrong every time I see him? I think of the movie Basket Case, and I look for the shotgun.
That's what should
freaks me the fuck out.
I nothing against Ricky again. I don't know him personally.
It seems like a nice enough dude.
And he's funny.
He seems like he's probably pretty funny. He just creeps me out.
Ain't no woman in this world just looking at him going, "Oh, I gotta get me some of that." Unless they know he's got some internet clout and a little bit of money from it.
If you ever want me to go on a homicidal rampage, dress that dude up like a clown and have him crawl through my yard going, "Gooble gobble, gooble gobble, one of us." I guarantee you bad things will happen. And I'll probably be in a nut house for the next decade.
Yeah.
Just saying, creepy.
And I'm not saying that after she got to know him in real life, she didn't fall in love with him. I don't know if they're in love or not, but she showed up for the clout, not for Ricky's good looks. Just saying.
Yeah.
I said, don't tempt him. You know what? That is the kind of shit that Ricky would do because Ricky's funny. He's got a good sense of humor about his crippledness.
Yeah, he does. And good for him because he can make a living and entertains a lot of people. Look, he seems like a really nice guy. And a lot of people that watch him love him. So good for him. Just, I admit that I have a bias against being creeped out. And it's nothing personal against him. Just some people scare me. And I find it unnerving. That's on me. That's not on him. I don't hold that against him.
And women will overlook a lot of stuff in a man. Let's just say that if the circumstances are right.
Yeah, if he has a suit made of hundreds, women panties just start melting off. Man, I don't try and figure that shit out. But then again, people like Ethan and Ralph bang above their physical class all the time. So who knows? The world's a strange place.
In Ethan's case, you're talking about damaged women at that point.
Yeah.
Or really young, naive ones.
Even then, there's something broken in them. Somebody touched their no-nos as kids or something.
All right. And on that, we're going to wrap up. Jack, a pleasure as always.
Always glad to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves. We love you. See you on the next one. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
I'm going to sing about man juice.